Welcome to How to Become a Production SQL Database Administrator. My name is Raphael. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to use SQL Server error logs to obtain information and utilize it when you're trying to troubleshoot SQL-related issues. The other log that we'll be looking for is the SQL Error Agent log, which also provides information about the SQL agent itself. There are two ways to access it, obviously through the GUI using Sprox here, which I'll be demonstrating in a second, and through the GUI. So let's look at the GUI first. So under Management, if you expand Management, go to SQL Server Logs here, and you'll see 6 current files. Obviously, these are all archived, and this being the oldest, and so on, and this being the most current. If you want to view the data within the SQL logs and you're trying to troubleshoot, then right-click, View SQL Server Log, and you get this pop-up. In here, as you can see, you'll see the date stamp source of the speech that's causing it, and obviously a message. In here, you can start looking at it and trying to determine what kind of errors you are getting, if you are getting any, or whether certain services have started or lacked, and so on. So obviously, there's a tremendous amount of information that you can go on here. And this is time-stamped, obviously, so if you want to look at other ones also, just click on the archive number 1. Now, there are 6 by default, and by SQL recycle servicing, they will actually recycle themselves here on a scheduled basis. Now, obviously, if you want to look at now this is obviously placed in a file. If you want to find out the path where these are and you want to back them up, for example, you would use this command, use master, and then execute this command that I'll provide for you. If you execute it, it will basically give you the log information of where this particular resides. And here it is. So if you go to that path, you'll actually see the error logs. Now, obviously, in the course of time, if you don't recycle these error logs, they can become quite large, and depending how busy it is. So here you can back up the log file if you wish, and then recycle them. So I'll be showing you that in a second. But here is the directory for those 6 error logs. Now, obviously, the other thing you can use is, let me actually go to the SQL agent, expand that, and you'll see the error logs here. Same as the SQL Server logs, these are related to the SQL agent. If you right-click and view agent log, you'll see everything that's related to that. And obviously here you can filter, refresh, search, and so on. Now, let's look at some of the Sprox that you can execute. Here is the Sprox execute sp_read error log, and then there are 4 parameters. In this particular case, there are 4 nulls. So if I highlight this and execute it, you can actually see the exact thing of the server log that we just looked at. Obviously, this is the most current right here. Now, the other thing to note is the first parameter, as I've mentioned, there's 4 parameters. So the first parameter specifies which error log to read. As I mentioned, there are 6, 0 to 5. So if you place the number 0, that'll be the first most current one. The next parameter that it takes is the parameter to query the SQL error log or the SQL agent. So if you wish to query the agent, then obviously you'll put down number 2. If you wish to query the SQL Server log, then you'll put down 1. The third parameter specifies a word or phrase that we're looking for within the text. So you can see everything is recorded, obviously, via text. And if you're searching for a specific thing in the text, then we can utilize this. And same, parameter 4 is the same. So, for example, if I'm trying to view this data and I don't want to use the GUI, then obviously I can execute this. If I want to see the SQL agent, then the only thing I'm changing is the 2. And if I execute this, then obviously you can see that I'm viewing the SQL agent. So this is a lot easier way of doing it than through the GUI, at least I find it. Again, if you're trying to search for specific words in the SQL Server log, since it's 1, and it'll show you that, and so on. So this is a great way of quickly looking at the logs, and I would encourage you that if you have any issues with the SQL agent, then certainly, or agent or SQL Server, then these are the 2 logs you want to certainly look at and try to determine if you can find the issue. So that's very easy to do, but certainly something you want to keep in the back of the mind. So I think I'll leave it here. There's really not that much to discuss here, but you should be familiar with the functions of SQL error logs and the SQL agent logs and how to access this data both through the GUI and through the SQL as I presented it here. So I'll just leave it here and we'll continue with the next video. So my name is Rafael and this is how to become a production SQL database administrator.